Hello everyone, it's Omae and welcome back to the brand new video. We have Vivi Super Evolution, finally man. So today my goal is to give you guys the best logical analysis of her Super Evolution. We'll be breaking down the following aspects of Vivi, so please look at chapters for your viewing pleasure. Firstly, I'll give you a quick summary of her PvE and PvP performance before the 6+ upgrade, so that we can better understand what we should be looking for in the Super Evolution. After that, we can look at what new abilities were introduced and what old abilities were upgraded in both PvE and PvP. We'll then take a critical look at the unit's raw damage and utility prowess in the context of modern OPTC and figure out where this unit stands in the current meta. We can then consider what the best PvE hybrids are for Vivi and also the Rumble team she might make home to. This section will be called Hybrids and Homes in the chapters. At the end of the video, we can make our final critical evaluation, looking at both the pros and cons of Vivi's brand new Super Evolution. Let me start off first by saying Vivi has aged incredibly well in PvE. Her regular 6-star kit already does quite a bit, which I'll touch upon in a moment, and I genuinely used her as a captain to clear a level 150 PKA last year. She also is almost a necessity for the Whiskey Peak Grand Voyage, even without having any level limit break upgrades at that time. She also has an incredible support ability, giving cerebral units a 1.75x orb boost. The main highlights of her PvE kits pre-upgrade are the special bind removal as a captain, providing a full board of matching orbs through block, which she then locks for a turn, and also her 3-turn orb boost. Even if you already have an existing orb boost, she buffs and extends it by 2 turns, making her even more versatile. She also boosts 3 group of characters: Strength, Cerebral, and Free Spirit. In almost every meta of Treasure Cruise, either Free Spirits or Cerebrals have been on top. My main gripes are definitely the lack of cooldown, a reduction in the captain effect, and the fact that she needs to be the captain for her super type to be active. Her super type is also pretty bad, so not really worth the hefty condition of 6 free spirit or cerebral characters. She also has never seen play in PvP due to her lack of damage, only a 1.5x damage to everyone, and also her failed role as a supporter. She also only works on strength PvP teams, unlike her versatile PvE kit. I do believe her PvP kit has potential though. She already provides hefty speed and special CT speed up buffs in her passive. And special CT speed up and speed up are just growingly important in the current PvP meta. And also the strength PvP team has been on the rise. I mean, her special could use quite a bit of work though. Her raw speed stat is also quite excellent and her defense is good enough. Her speed is 171 and defense 157. She is also healing quite a bit in her behavior pattern. At level 2 large range heal, almost everyone would be targeted for about a 500 heal, which is pretty nice. Overall, I believe her PvE kit just needs some polishing with a good multiplier increase, some cooldown, and a better super type that can be activated as a sub, which that did not exist when she released. There were no super types that could be used as a sailor, but I expect that in her Super Evolution, which we will discuss in a moment. And also, I have huge expectations for her massive PvP performance enhancements. So let's see, have my expectations been met? Okay, now let's look at her Super Evolution. First off, incredible artwork. This looks very similar to this other Vivi artwork that I think is like one of the best in the entire game. I mean, I think we have a new best Vivi artwork. I mean, this one, I've always loved this one. It's such a good artwork, but I think the new one's a bit better actually. Very, very good. So just a few things to preface. I do believe that most people will have this character at least level limit break 3, especially after the 2 copies from Rumble. This is a regular legend. She's been in the game for years now. Most people have her at least level limit break 3. A lot of them even at level 150, since some people invested posters into her for the Grand Voyage Whiskey Peak, as I mentioned before. So we will strongly consider her level limit break 3 performance, but when we're talking about her special, we really do want the based one to be as good as possible, right? So Vivi, strength, cerebral, free spirit, of course, still. She has the same support ability and potential ability. This is how it is with Super Evolutions. But when it comes to her captain ability, she still has the special bind. Her multipliers are slightly improved from 5x to 5.25x. She now is going to buff incoming orb and color affinity boosts by 0.3, and then also will give a turn of cooldown to cerebral and free spirit units now. So great that we have some some form of cooldown now, but not to strength units, weirdly enough. So the captain ability hasn't seen like too many improvements. I like the buffing to the orbs and color affinity. Very nice. And then her special at 13 turns after limit break expansion, 14 turns prior, will now reduce damage nullification by 2 turns. Still gives you a full board of matching orbs through block and locks them. And now the buff to existing orb boost is now 0.75 with a 2-turn extension, which is still the same as before. But that is a massive buff. I love that. So just a few things that have changed from here. For one, the buff to existing orb boost is now 0.75x, and the orb boost that she gives is now 2.75x instead of 2.25x. So slight multiplier improvements, this is what I like to see, but also addition of utility through the damage nullification reduction. And of course, this orb boost of 3 turns is an implied form of utility. If the enemy tries to give you a 1.1x weak orb boost on stage 3, you can use this on stage 2 to block the enemy from doing that to you. And then she has a new added ability. If you have 6 cerebral characters or 6 free spirits, so you can't have a mix, then she will apply a territory strength to the field. So territories have just been growingly more important in a lot of content. The enemy will apply their own territory, which, if you don't know, is a 66% reduction in your damage. The only way to remove that is by placing your own territory on the field. So even though Vivi's territory strength, it seems like it'll only give you a 1.5x damage if you have all 6 units matching the territory, but it's actually going to increase your damage way more if the enemy has their own territory up, because you're not only giving you that 1.5x damage increase, you're removing that damage reduction that the enemy has on you. And also it is a 2-turn territory, so it will last for 2-turn burst in Super Boss Kizuna. Although in most situations you're not going to be using her in that situation, but it is an option that is there, right? So I think her special is a pretty good upgrade. Like, this is a solid upgrade. People will say, okay, yes, you do need those 6 free spirits or 6 cerebrals, but I don't think it's too hard of a condition. And in content where the enemy does not apply a territory of their own, you don't need to activate that effect. So I still think her special has value even without that. And remember, she will get extra abilities with the level limit break 5. So I think before the level limit break upgrades, already a solid upgrade for PvE. It's all that you really needed. Just slight multiplier increases, the cooldown reduction as I was hoping for. And then her super type. This is one I really wanted to improve, and it definitely did. You can now use her as a sailor and still activate the super evolution. Super type, my bad. Same conditions still, 6 cerebral or free spirits, so you can have a mix this time. They don't have to be 6 cerebrals or 6 free spirits. It can be a mix, right? And now it'll give you a 2.5x attack boost instead of a 2x one, and it'll be 2 turns instead of 1 now. So it's definitely not the craziest super type, but once again, you can use this to block weak attack boosts like 1.1x that the enemy tries to give you on stage 3. Since it's 2 turns, it will last for the enemy's preemptive and also for 2-turn bursts. And of course, it will give you that massive damage amp for your strength units, and also a damage reduction decrease if you are tapping with type disadvantage with your strength units. That's what super type does. So I do think this is great. It is definitely not a great ability if you need to run as the captain, but this is just a nice additive damage if you are running her as a sailor. I do think the condition is a bit hefty for the buff that you're getting, but it's still a massive improvement in multipliers, turn duration, and also you don't need her to be the captain. Besides that, her sailor abilities have remained the same. It's still giving you a quick orb counted as matching for the entire team, very powerful. And she of course has her royalty and alabaster kingdom tags. Now let me look at her level limit break upgrades, and then we can determine if she really needs them. First off in PvE, and then we can discuss her PvP stuff. So at level limit break 3, she gets the captain upgrade. This requires 4 dupes. So you need 2 dupes besides the ones that they're giving for free in the Rumble season to get her to level limit break 3 and get the upgraded captain, which now gives you 2 turns of cooldown to cerebral and free spirit. Still not to strength units, but still really good improvement there. She's now a speed farming captain. and she will now boost attack by 5.5x instead of 5.25x. Nice damage upgrade. She still has the HP and the special bind reduction. She will also still give you a 0.3 increase in orb and color affinity buffs. Now keep this in mind, if you are running double Vivi, which you might want to do as I'll continue reading in a moment, you will get that buff twice. So if you activate any orb or color affinity boost, it'll be buffed twice, so 0.6x increase, which is really nice. Think about that. It's a really good damage increase. And then you get an added effect. This is the best part, and in my opinion, what makes her level limit break upgrade definitely worth having. If you have 2 or more Alabaster Arc or Royalty Tag units on the team, you will get a 6-turn innate bind reduction. So I think this is the first unit in the game to actually have a combination of utilities such as this in their captain effect, reducing both bind and special bind. And I mean, 6 turns is enough in most scenarios. Remember, you have sockets reducing another 3 turns, so anytime the enemy gives you a 9-turn bind reduction, you can just straight up ignore it. You do need 2 of those tags, so 1 unit besides Vivi herself, but if you are running double Vivi captains, then it's definitely not that hard to get. And also we have a lot of good royalty tag units in the game. Not as many Alabaster units, but still a decent amount of royalty characters. And we'll get into hybrid options, so units that have these tags, a bit later on in the video. But for now, very good captain ability. She's a speed farming captain. She's getting around 2 forms of debuffs at a very high amount of turns, and she's giving you massive buffs for your damage. This is a solid captain ability, man. Then the Rumble special, okay, no, the regular special at level limit break 5, you need a total of 9 duplicates to get this ability. She's still reducing damage nullification by 2, giving you a full board of matching orbs through block and locking them, as well as the extension, as well as the buff to existing orb boosts. But now, if you don't have an existing orb boost, she's giving you a 3.7 or 3.25x orb boost for 3 turns. So it's a 0.5x increase, pretty massive damage amp here. And there's still the territory there, as per usual, same amount of turns, 2 of them. But now, the added effect, if you have 3 or more royalty tag characters on the crew and the captain is a cerebral and you have an orb boost already active, it will convert that existing attack boost into a stackable attack boost. Now, people are gonna say this unit's bad because, oh, it's another Galaxy Impact Garp. You have to jump through so many hoops. It has to be 5 o'clock midday. You have to have a watch on. You need to have eaten lunch, all the stuff. But this is not that hard. Yes, the royalty tag one is pretty difficult, but you're mostly gonna have a cerebral captain when you are running Vivi, so that's not even really much of a consideration. And when you are activating a stackable attack boost, of course you're gonna have an attack boost active already. That's just how the buff works. And having this from a regular legend that most people have maxed already, this is a solid special. Now, you do need to have 2 royalty tags besides her, which is a bit harder than the condition in her captain ability for the bind reduction, but this is still really powerful. She is reducing the multiplier by 0.75x, but for instance, if you are using her super type, you'll get still a 1.75x attack boost, and then you can still stack it with another one you get. So it is a lot of restrictions, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's that difficult to get. If you're running double Vivi, you only need 1 other royalty character, which there's a lot of good ones that we'll talk about later on. So I think her special is amazing. It's giving you a massive damage amp through the orb boost and existing orb boosts. She's giving you a lot of utility through the damage nullification, allowing you to evade weak attack and orb boosts with both the special and super type. She's allowing you to get around block orbs and carry those orbs into the next stage, those full board of matching orbs. And she's giving you a territory, which can replace enemy territories and give you a massive damage amp. So overall, like, she's doing a lot here, a lot of damage, a lot of utility, and yes, a lot of requirements. But I think with how good her kit was before, this makes sense. I was honestly taken aback by the fact that she has such a massive amp in her captain ability, 2 turns of cooldown, the massive buff to existing orb and color affinity boost, and then also the bind reduction utility, which is not that hard to get. I'm impressed. Vivi has impressed me majorly. But what about her Rumble stuff? She now has a massive amp in her defense, going from about 157, I think, to 182. And her speed also got a tiny amp, but she already had a very high speed in the first place. Her recovery is also a bit higher, so her behavior healing patterns are going to be even better. She still reduces special bind and reduces damage from dex enemies by 30% in her resistance. Now let's take a look at her rumble ability. Strength, free spirit, and royalty. So she's now going on to free spirit teams. That is a massive change. And now also a royalty. And royalty not as important, but going on to free spirit teams, that is a massive improvement. She's now giving you a 6 level speed up buff instead of level 5, and also giving you a level 6 HP up buff. Remember, this is before level limit break. And then if you have 5 or more dex enemies, so you want to run this mainly against dex enemies, of course, then when appearing on the field, royalty teammates, 30% CT reduction. Okay, that's great. Sanji Reiju, royalty tag character. That is pretty huge. And then in the first 40 seconds of battle, strength type teammates, special CT speed up, level 5. I don't like that. Why is it not a free spirit? Why is it not a free spirit, bro? Tell me this, bro. And then also dex type enemies, special CT speed down of level 5. Okay, so these are massive buffs and debuffs. Let me just break it down for you guys. Level 6 speed up is a 30 increase in the speed stat. HP up level 5 is 1500 HP increase. And then of course the level 5 speed up is about a 10% reduction in our own CT, and then a 10% CT delay for the enemy. It'll take them 10% longer, right? So this is great. I think the buffs are massive. I love the CT reduction, but there's a bit too much happening here, a bit too many hoops to jump through. First off, even if you're running free spirit and royalty mainly that are on strength, they're not getting the CT reduction, the special CT speed up, I mean. And she's only really good up against a team of dex enemies. But I think in a situation where you're running a predominantly strength team and you're also fighting dex enemies, she's pretty good, right? She's pretty good, right? And then her special at 26 CT, enemies in a large range for 60% chance of special bind for 8 seconds. So it's a 10% chance increase and also a 3-second extension of the special bind. She'll also target strength and free spirit as well as royalty tag teammates for attack up of level 7 for 20 seconds. I think that's the exact same as before. And then also speed up of level 7 for 20 seconds. So those are pretty substantial buffs. And then targets dex type enemies for a defense down of level 5 for 15 seconds. That is massive. And then also enemies for 8x spread damage. So that's definitely, I think, the weakest spread damage from a non-free-to-play unit we've seen in the game. But it's still a nice bit of damage, I guess. I'm not too impressed, I must say. The buffs are great, but once again, only if you're running up against dex enemies. The special bind is horrible. Only a 60% chance for an 8-second special bind. Like, this is horrible, man. That's pretty bad, I can't lie, man. I'm really not impressed. The spread damage is weak. You need to run a full strength team for it to actually be that good. And I mean, let's see what her level limit break does before I judge. So her passive will now give you a level 7 speed up, a level 7 HP up. Same thing here. 3 dex enemies only now. Okay, this is much more realistic. This is far more realistic, man, because now we're going from fully dex teams to class-based teams, because a lot of class-based teams will have 3 dex enemies. Definitely not all of them, but you will see a lot of class-based teams that have 3 dex enemies at least. Then she'll give the 30% reduction to royalty tag just as before, but now a 20% to herself as well. And she herself is a royalty, remember? So she's giving herself 50% CT reduction. Keep that in mind, man. Very, very good. So her CT is 26, so she's going down to 30%. To 13 seconds, should I say. She's also giving herself that special CT speed up buff of level 5. So I think that's between 10 and 15% CT reduction of her original CT. So that'll be about a 3-second reduction. So 13 minus 3 is about 10 seconds. Very good. Very, very good. Okay, so let's look at what the rest of the kit is doing. She's also going to give a level 6 special CT speed up now, and a level 6 debuff to the enemy who are Dex, right? Okay, I like this a lot. She's still not giving Cerebral and Free Spirits, or just Free Spirits and Royalty, should I say, the special CT speed up buff, but I still like this a lot more. And then at level 4, she will now give an 80% chance of a 10-second special bind. That's much better. That's way more reliable and also way more worth it. 10 seconds is not bad for 80% chance, and it is a large range, so most enemies will get hit. She'll also now give a level 8 buff for 25 seconds for both speed and attack, and also a defense up buff was added now of level 5 for 25 seconds. And then Dex enemies will now get defense down of level 7 instead for 20 seconds. And then the spread damage is 10x. And then in Assault Rumble, so she now has special Assault Rumble abilities, Royalty Tag teammates, 20% CT reduction. So she herself is going to be 70% CT reduced at the start of the quest in Assault Rumble. And for characters like Sanji Reiju, she'll give a 50% CT reduction at the start of the quest. I think she's pretty usable in her level limit broken form, but besides that, I would not say so. So for people who say like, yes, you need to jump through too many hoops for this unit to work, for PvP, I concur. I agree with that 100%. But when it comes to PvE stuff, I think those restrictions are justified. She is a great unit even if you don't meet those requirements, but the payoff is great. The requirement is not that crazy as people are going to be making it out to be. And remember, she also does get an extra 10% damage reduction to Dex with a level number break 5 in her resistance. She's also healing a pretty decent amount. A level 2 heal in a large range, 0.6x her recovery. So it's going to be about a 300 recovery. I think, yeah, 300 recovery. And that's not horrible, but it could be definitely be better. I mean, her kit is just a bit weird when it comes to PvP, but I think she'll definitely see some play. Because I'm not thinking of any royalty characters besides Sanji Reiju who's gonna really benefit from her. Okay, so let's get into the hybrids and homes of Super Evolution Vivi. I definitely think this unit's great when it comes to PvE. She is very solid. I think that this is a great follow-up for Black Maria. Black Maria was an outstanding Super Evolution. I didn't get to showcasing her. I might still do it just because of how good she is. And also I think she's going to have a very good spot in PvP. But Vivi, I do think her level number break 4 form will see some play in PvP. When it comes to Assault Rumble, it's heavily damage based, and Vivi herself is not providing that by a lot. We need to take a look at what royalty tags she has access to really look at how good she's going to be in Rumble. And also in PvE, we need some royalty characters to work with her. So royalty is going to be a lot of these characters like Vivi, Shirahoshi, all these princess units. Let's filter by legend characters first. So as I said, Sanji Reiju is a great option for PvP to hybrid her up with. But when it comes to PvE, not a very good hybrid option because they kind of do the similar things. Reduce special bind as a captain. The special reduces bind, which Vivi also does in her captain. The damage nullification, Vivi also does. So if anything, she's more in PvE a replacement for Sanji and Reiju. But when it comes to other units like Shirahoshi and Mancherry, this is actually probably the best character to use her with, as well as the V1 Vivi or Shirahoshi and Mancherry. This unit is still really good if I can find her. Even without a Super Evolution, she gets around 2 icon debuffs by 10 turns and gives you a full heal, which is even more prevalent today. Also a full board of matching orbs, which she can change into matching or into rainbow with the switch effect, which when you combine this with the slot lock from Vivi, you can prevent the enemy from giving you poison slots, paralysis slots, super block, all that. You can use this character for that incredible hybrid potential. And also Vivi is not getting around any of the icon debuffs like attack down in her kit, so this character has very good value alongside her. And of course she does have the royalty tag. Besides that, we do have the V1 Vivi and Rebecca, which does have a Super Evolution, pretty good one at that, and hybrids extremely well with this new character. She gets around defense up and percent damage reduction. Of course, Vivi is in the character, so you can't run this unit as the on the same team, but you can run Vivi as a captain and this Vivi and Rebecca as a friend unit. Or since this Vivi and Rebecca doesn't have a good captain effect, run her as a sailor and then the Vivi super evolution as a friend unit, right? That'll be much more effective. But this unit is essentially getting around defense up and a percent damage reduction and giving you a color affinity, which Vivi super evolution does not provide. And then the swap effect also gives you a chain boundary. Once again, Vivi super evolution does not provide that. So I think this is a great hybrid option. Nami and Vivi, not as much. This unit already gives you a orb boost, but remember, Vivi will extend that and buff it massively, so not a horrible hybrid option. This unit gets around the chain minimum attack down and also has a pretty nice captain ability for paralysis reduction, which Vivi does not have. So on a free spirit cerebral a royalty team, this is a great option. Of course, we have the Rebecca treasure map legend, which is probably the most recent option to use. Barrier reduction, damage reduction, so you can survive death hits, and then also reduces cooldown of the bottom right unit, top right character as well, which is your captain. And this unit also has hefty tag requirements, which wants you to use royalty characters, so she benefits from you using Vivi. She will reduce intimidation, which is the debuff that, or enemy buff should I say, that reduces the turn duration of your buffs and also the multiplier of them. So it's a very annoying debuff or enemy buff, so it's great to remove that. Also gives you an attack boost, which remember, you can stack this with the attack boost from Vivi thanks to her condition of making attack boost stackable. So there's a great combination there. And then if you have an attack up, she'll still give you a base attack boost. So really good character here to hybrid up with, and I think Vivi will make this Rebecca much more valuable. And then Shiroshi and Manchuri V2, this character has probably the best utility in the game besides Silage and Chopper. She gets around poison, paralysis, so changes these into matching the poison and paralysis orbs. She also just will straight up remove paralysis that you get, of course, the turn amount. And then also blindness, which is remove its effects. All this completely. Then bleed, despair, and burn by 10 turns. A full board of rainbow orbs, which remember, Vivi will lock, or you could also just use the swap effect to lock it. And then she also wants you to have these royalty characters to buff existing chain buffs and also give you a massive chain growth rate, or a chain multiplicative buff should I say. So I think these are the best options for you to use alongside the brand new Vivi. Of course, if you are using V1 or V2 Vivi and Rebecca, it'll have to be a hybrid option. You can't run them on the same team. But this one isn't as good to run alongside Vivi, since she does also reduce the bind and special bind. There's a bit of conflict there, right? So it's not as efficient. So I think those are the best kind of PvE teams to run it on. I don't think anyone else is really too noteworthy. Sanji and Judge, not as great to run. This unit's pretty bad right now. We also have this Judge. This unit's still not horrible, I must say. Like, most people don't use them, but they're pretty good if you want to get around enemy captain swap debuff that they try to give you. Sometimes the enemy tries to swap a random sub into your captain, and this unit is great for that. And they also provide pretty good buffs and matching orbs, but overall not that crazy. I think those are the best options. This Vivi and Rebecca is also a pretty good hybrid option on a cerebral free spirit basis. Unfortunately, this Reiju doesn't really synergize at all, even though she's a pretty good character. But I do think this unit is underrated. Pretty good hybrid option as well. There's not a lot of clash here of abilities. All these units that give rainbow orbs are great to run alongside Vivi. Since she does lock them, you can prevent the enemy from giving you badly matching slots. Really powerful. But what about her PvP stuff? First off, I wanted to talk about the newest characters, Ganko and Shamrock, who actually have incredible synergy with the new Vivi. They both have the strength cerebral basis, and of course Vivi might go pretty well on the strength emu team when it comes to Rumble, as long as you're fighting a team with at least 3 dex enemies. So, I mean, remember, Shamrock and Gunko, they really want you to have both a strength and powerhouse territory going into their special. And Vivi provides, of course, the strength territory, which is really nice for this unit. And they can hybrid on a strength cerebral team. Remember, Vivi needs 6 cerebrals or 6 free spirits for that territory. And all these units are strength cerebral, so you can run that kind of a team based off of. Unfortunately, the Holy Knights and Emu are not royalty tagged. So, yeah, they don't really get the Rumble benefits of Vivi or help proc Vivi's abilities, but it's still a really strong hybrid. And also, just generally, let's just look at some of the 6-star and 6-star plus strength units that this unit might hybrid up with. So we have, of course, 12th Annie Shanks. This is also a pretty strong option. He will give you a conditional boost as well as bind reduction, so maybe not as strong. Let me just look up for a bit more and see which units will find the best synergy here. You know who it is, Nami and Karina. So once again, this unit's going to synergize extremely well. Both forms actually just give a lot of stuff that Vivi does not. The getting around special rewind, enemy threshold and defense up, the attack down reduction, all that Vivi does not do. So having her is really powerful. And of course, the threshold buff, which allows you to survive enemy death hits. Also, Vivi needs that survivability aspect. And then of course, Nami's version gets around enemy barriers, resilience, blue shield, or percent damage reduction, should I say, rainbow shield, paralysis. All this Vivi really wants to have, and you can stack these attack boosts and get 2 attack boosts using, of course, Vivi. You can use the orb boost from Nami and Karina, extend and increase the multiplier of that. Just a really strong hybrid option here. And we can't talk about strength cerebral without talking about my boy Vegapunk Stella. I think this might actually be a really strong synergy. Remember, Vivi is giving that massive buff to attack, to orb and color affinity buffs that are applied. And that's exactly what Vegapunk does. If you have an orb boost, no, you can give both at the same time. He gives you color affinity for 3 turns as long as you have this tag requirement met. And this is a 3-turn buff alongside an orb boost that Vivi will extend by 2 turns. So yeah, really strong combination, man. Really strong combination. Unfortunately, Vivi's not a scientist, but he's also reducing percent damage reduction and despair, which Vivi does not. He also gives attack up and all boost buffs. As a captain, he gets around special rewind, which also is very beneficial for Vivi. Very good defense, very good hybrid here, should I say. Defense up, all buffs, and allows you to convert it into a stackable orb boost. So that's perfect. You can get a stackable attack boost and a stackable orb boost with Vegapunk, and you can hybrid up Vegapunk's orb boost and Vivi's orb boost and get them both at the same time. And of course, super cerebral benefits both of them. This is a really good hybrid, man. I didn't expect this. If you're running him as a sailor as well, you can run a full cerebral team for Vivi's territory and also get this despair reduction as a sailor. I think this might be one of the best hybrid options. Really cool stuff, man. But that's the one thing I love about this Vivi. She goes in so many different teams. Strength, cerebral, free spirit. Of course, you want to mainly run cerebral free spirit if you're using her as a captain, so she doesn't give strength units cooldown. But yeah, that's just a kind of a small gripe I have with this unit. Now, I think we should talk about her PvP stuff and what team will she probably go on. I think one of the most obvious options is going to be with the new Shamrock and Gunko on a strength cerebral based team. Yes, she works with non-strength units on mainly free spirit and royalty, but she doesn't give those special CT speed up to the non-strength units, which I think is really bogus, man. But I think, yeah, she will definitely find a home on some free spirit teams. And then we'll talk about her pros and cons and my final evaluation of Vivi, of course. Now, heading over to the Rumble spreadsheet. Once again, shout out to Nydato. Really good work on the Rumble spreadsheet. He's always tasting these teams and putting very accurate and strong meta teams here. But just taking a look at what teams actually have 3 dex units, because Vivi, even at level limit break 4, she needs there to be at least 3 dex enemies on the team, on the enemy team, should I say. And remember, in Rumble, dual units are typeless. So even if a dual character has dex as one of their type, that does not count in Rumble. So I mean, most teams will not. I mean, we have Caesar, but there's not a lot of good bench units in the game that are decks that people are actually using nowadays versus Zoro, but that's still only 2 units. The best option will probably be against Navy team, since we have the Kizaru, Prince Groose, Hibari, and Rare Recruit Halmepo. But really not that many options here besides just a fully dex orientated team. This one here using Rumble Ace, Luffy, and Zoro, I think that's a great option to go up against. And then what team would they actually go on when you are using her? I mean, she's buffing Free Spirit a lot, so you could use characters like Nikabani versus Zoro, Usopp Lilith, all these characters. Wait, no, Usopp Lilith is Shooter Cerebral, not Free Spirit, my bad. But Royalty is just not a very strong Rumble team, unfortunately. We do have the Treasure Map Rebecca, who's somewhat usable in Rumble, but I feel like more on a defense team, this Vivi will be great, because a lot of the Royalty tag teammates are going to be units that heal, very defensive orientated. So I don't think she's going to be as great on attacking teams, but she definitely could slide her way onto one of these teams. Remember, she's a 55 cost character. I don't think she's pulling her weight for being a 55 cost unit, man. I seriously don't think that, man. I mean, even if the enemy has 3 dex enemies, all the other characters that are on the enemy team will not get those debuffs. The defense down, the special CT speed down. She's just not good. I hate to say it, but in PvP, she's just not good, man. I don't think they did a really good job with making her like usable in the current meta. Yeah, she's giving the Sanji and Reiju character a 30% CT reduction, but at the end of the day, most of the CT she's giving is in Assault Rumble, and Sanji Reiju isn't really a character you use in whatchamacallit, in Assault Rumble. This is not a very offensive based character, very defensive. So I mean, their CT is how many seconds? 24 seconds. So it's already such a low CT unit. Special CT speed up buff does not do a lot for the unit, because of how low their CT is in the first place. Of course, the dot evasion, giving enemies dot as well. And I mean, this is one of the strongest dots in the entire game that she does provide. But still, bro. Half stats evasion. I mean, I don't know, man. You can't just run her to buff Sanji and Reiju. It's not good enough. It's not good enough, man. There's no other good Rumble units that are royalty tag at the moment. I mean, I don't know if future characters we'll get in the game will be royalty tag, but for now, I'm not seeing it. Yes, we have Rebecca. She's very much a great unit for Free Spirit team. So I guess you could like hybrid her up there and then also put on Sanji Reiju. But all these units are 55 cost. Keep that in mind. There's no really good 20 cost unit that this unit synergizes with. But she does give the CT to a Vivi as well. So there's a lot of CT reduction between them. And I'm trying to not have any bias. I'm trying to think about this logically. She's giving 20% CT reduction to Free Spirit. So Vivi also gets that. More CT as well. I mean, they're both support characters. You're not really having any good DPS to run alongside her. I'm very curious though. What will the team look like having the Treasure Map Rebecca, the new Super Evolution of Vivi, as well as Sanji Reiju? You could also run this Shiroshi and Manchuri, but this is a more healing based character. She does a lot of healing here and also in her special. A lot of buffs. Special CT even more. Shield in Assault Rumble is pretty nice. Now she does give a 30% CT reduction to herself. There's a lot of CT reduction happening here, but at the end of the day, is that even worth it? Like, their specials is not going to be doing a lot of damage to the enemy. I'm interested though. I mean, this unit is more striker orientated, but also works really well with Cerebral. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, but overall I think her PvP stuff is not going to see nearly as much play, man. As a 55 cost unit, I just don't see her being used. Yes, she gives massive buff to royalty tag characters, but right now it's looking pretty grim on the royalty tag side of things, which we might see change in the future. I don't know if we'll get more like characters from the world government who have a royalty tag, although I really wish Emu and the Holy Knights had that, but it is what it is. But yeah, that's gonna be about it for the video. I think this character's PvE stuff is great. Let's just take a look at the pros and cons before we end off. Okay, so I think these are like the main pros of this character. Like for the utility side of things, it's unbelievably good. Like she's reducing bind, special bind as a captain. She's giving you the at least 2 turns of an attack and an orb boost, so you can like block the enemy from giving you a weak attack and orb boost. She also changes block slots into matching. She does provide a slot lock in a special, so if you're running her with a unit that gives like rainbow orbs or super bomb or something like that, you can block the enemy from giving you these horrible slots. She also gives you a territory on the field, so that replaces the enemy's territory, which gives us a 66% damage reduction. So that is a massive amping out damage by removing this damage reduction that we would have had otherwise. She also removes 2 turns of damage nullification, so a lot of utility here. But then also a 3.25x orb boost for 3 turns, a 2.5x attack boost for 2 turns, a strength territory which gets you up to a 1.5x damage amp, a full board of matching orbs through block, and then also a an attack boost. Oh yeah, attack boost stacking. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah. And then when we talk about the cons of the character, oh boy, the cons are abundant, guys. So first off, I didn't mention another pro is that she has massive CD reduction in her captain ability now, and she now also has a super type that's usable as a sailor. Now, the cons, bro. First off, her PvE kit. I don't think there's a lot of issues with her PvE stuff. Yes, there's still a bit of incoherency, which we will talk about in a moment, but not nearly as much as her PvP stuff. So first off, the super type is fairly mediocre for the difficult condition of having 6 cerebral or free spread units. A lot of the time when team building, you'll have 1 or 2 characters that stray from the general coherency of the team, just because maybe they have some very good utility or damage boosting effects. And a lot of the time you can get away with not having everyone synergize, and there will be situations on a cerebral free spirit team where you won't have a cerebral or free spirit unit. So having all 6 of them and then still having that pretty mediocre super type effect is just not good in my opinion. And then also you need 2 royalty units besides Vivi herself to get that stacking attack boost, and as you could see, there was very few units that have that royalty tag. And then when we talk about her kit, it's very incoherent. So her super type, as we mentioned, you need a mix of 6 cerebral or free spirit units, but the territory requirement for her special needs you to have 6 of either. So you need 6 cerebral units or 6 free spirit. There's no longer a mix, which makes it way more incoherent. And then also the captain effect reduces bind if there's 1 other royalty unit on the team besides Vivi, but stacking the attack boost in a special requires you to have 2 other royalty units besides herself. So there's just so much incoherency. Some parts of the kit have a more lenient requirement like her super type, but even then it's a very weak ability. But then other parts of the kit have a more tight requirement but have a bit of a better payoff. And I mean, you don't really need to have the stacking attack boost and the territory, which are kind of the 2 things that have those more tighter requirements. But still, man, like, why is there such an incoherency here between the unit's own kit? Like, it feels like there's a massive conflict here. But PvP is even worse, bro. Like, yes, she boosts strength, free spirit, and royalty, but she's only giving strength units a lot of these special CT speed up buffs. She's only giving royalty characters these CT percent reductions, and her special is also just all over the show. It's a mess. Free spirit units are getting shafted, and even if you're running a fully strength or fully royalty team, one side is getting shafted. The strength units are not getting the CT percent reduction. The royalty units aren't getting the special CT speed up buffs that strength units are getting. And there's no good strength royalty units. This is the only good strength royalty unit. All the royalty characters are dual units that have no type, so there won't be strength. Very odd, and it only works against very specific PvP teams that have 3 or more dex enemies, which, as you can see there, was basically only the Navy team besides the fully focused dex team. So this is a lot of cons when it comes to Rumble. I do not like this character's Rumble kit. Overall, I must say, bro, this is not a very good look. So with all that being said, welcome to the final part of the video, the critical evaluation. Let's see, is Vivi a good super evolution? So her PvE kit really didn't need much of an upgrade, and I believe they delivered exceptional upgrades despite the incoherency of activation requirements in some parts of the kit. Even though she gets a massive upgrade for level number break 3 in a captain, Most players will have that after the Rumble season is complete, giving us 2 free copies. She does not need the level limit break 5 special upgrade, since it just gives you the stackable attack boost upgrade and a slight multiplicative increase for your orb boost. And her Rumble kit is not good anyways, so level limit break 4 is not a necessity for the special upgrade. Her Rumble kit is a mess with no real focus, and she doesn't fit well on any teams, being a 55 cost unit. For now, this super evolution was a massive success in the PvE side of things, with incredible damage and utility, as well as strong hybrid options. However, her Rumble kit is a fumble, and she has no home in the current Rumble meta. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, ask me down below. Tell me if you like this new style, which is much more structured. I kind of have a loose script to go off of as well, just so that we have much more focus and cover every aspect of the character, both past, present, and future, and PvE as well as PvP. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, and I'm out.